at you. Whew. Good morning, Paul. Right, bright and early. First in the chute, Paul is saying, good god dang morning. Gosh dang morning. Good to see you. Good to see you, Paul. Hopefully your week is going well. You know, it's Friday Eve. It's a lot of stuff going on. We got this going on tonight at 7. Trivia night, cybersecurity trivia night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Come out, show your security chops. Man, I don't know, I got a elephant in my eye or what? Come out, show. Do you know your trivia? Do you know your cybersecurity facts? Do you know what's going on in the world? Got a good one tonight. There's a new domain, a new area we're covering, and I was gonna do it, but the work week has knocked me out, and Mako took my domain and started working it yesterday. He's gonna finish it up today. He's got you on some of these, I think. You know, Mako likes to get you guys. He likes to try to get you, try to pull one over on you, he likes to try to get you not to be able to answer his questions. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying he's trying to keep you from answering his questions. And that's just the way he is. He's gunning. He's got the big guns out, gunning for you. So we'll see how that goes. Trivia night tonight, 7 p.m. East Coast time, right here on this YouTube channel, YouTube Cyber-Recon. Join a little bit early if you can. We'll have the stream up and running about 15 minutes prior. Jump on, get on the live stream, get on Socrative. That way you can answer the questions. Good to have two screens, if you have your phone or you have whatever. However, I think the best way is just on a computer if you can, because then you can have Socrative in a web browser. You don't have to give it any information at all. Obviously a free event. Come out, join us. Cyber Security Trivia Night. It's our ninth one. 9 times we've done this. Got some running champions out there that just keep on winning. So we'll see how it goes. See how you guys do tonight. Tomorrow, obviously, is Friday. Closing the week out. Have you got to where you're accomplishing your goals? Are you accomplishing your goals for the week? Are you getting the things done you said you were going to get done? We've got to set those goals. We've got to set them. Got to get them down on paper. We've got to go towards them. So we got to do that for our work on our personal life. Get that stuff done. First up this morning, before we jump into the news, $30 million. Bang! A big pile of money. 30 million dineros. That's what it looks like these guys walked away with. Yesterday we were talking about what was the dark web. The dark web marketplace. It looked like they were under a DOS attack. What was their actual name? Let me get their actual name. Of course, the web is going to run slow. The Empire Market. There we go. It took me forever to find it. Empire Market. Looks like the admins walked away with 30 million bucks. Took the money and run. Like we said yesterday, it's all in Bitcoin. So obviously you're trying to track Bitcoin a little better now. But not yet. They're not so good at tracking it yet. So these guys may have walked away with the money and got away scot-free. I don't know. 30 million bucks in Bitcoin. Every day is worth a little less, a little more, depending on the exchange rate. Yeah, geez. That's a payday. That's why people do the malicious stuff. That's why they come after your systems. That's why they try to hack you. Get access to the big dollars, man. And that's why we got to keep them out. Got to do our part to stop them from getting to you. So we're all about. Take care of your friends, your family, coworkers, your organization. We are the risk, security, and cyber folks that are taking care of the world. You got to go out. It's a community. This is a community of folks that just is trying to do the right thing, trying to secure those systems, trying to keep the information protected, trying to keep that data in the right place, doing the things we can. So let's talk about the news. What's coming at you today? Let's throw the intro in, and then we'll jump into today's news. Oh, crazy. First up on the list is the grid, the power grid, and critical infrastructure. Always up there. SC Media got their story out talking about could a $50 device in a coffee cup really knock out the grid? And obviously, I don't know if it's that much. That's that, you know, they did a demo some time ago with a little device that could increase the output of a solar array to try to burn out the pathways, the batteries, everything else that follows it. Cool. That's a good way to lead into the story. I don't think that's the big meat of the story. I think the meat of this story is 70% of industrial control systems, or ICSs, disclosed in the first half of 2020 that they can be exploited remotely, according to a report from Clarity. It's grown more acute since the pandemic has forced ICS-driven facilities to rely even more on a work-from-home situation, leaving networks further susceptible to unauthorized tampering. Yeah, so ICS is funny. SCADA devices and industrial control systems, they used to be isolated. They were on their own network. They were totally disconnected from everything. They ran their own protocol. So they didn't run the internet protocol, the IP stack we normally see on networks. They were an operational technology. These are things like the robots and the valves and the ICS devices, the controllers, those kind of things that run assembly lines. They run the power grid. They open and close switches. They run the water processing facilities, water distribution, all these different pieces of critical infrastructure that we rely on day in, day out. Power, water, sewage, all these things are now ran by industrial control systems. So if you think back, turn of the century, if you wanted water to go from this pipe to this pipe, you wanted to open it up, somebody got on top of a ladder and a great big wheel, they turned the great big wheel, and it opened the valve and the water went rushing down the pipe. Well, over time we realized that it's not efficient to have that guy climb the ladder and turn the big wheel. We got to pay the guy to climb the ladder and turn the big wheel. If he falls off the ladder, he gets hurt. Or that's not good. And we can probably use that guy doing something else. So we put a motor on there and we hooked it up to a SCADA device. And then we could send it signals. We could send a signal, say, open the valve. And when it said open the valve, the motor would turn on and it would open the valve and the water would go where it goes. And say close the valve, we'd switch the switch off and the valve would close. Great, things worked great. It was self-contained. It was this operational technology. You had to be in the facility to run the switches. You know, that's like, you know, Homer Simpson pushing the button in the nuclear plant. You had to be there to do it. But along the way, it really started with leadership. Leadership said, I want to know how much water we're pushing down that pipe. Or I want to know how many times that valve's at opening and shutting. I want to know how efficient we are, how much power we're using. So they said, I want to sit at my desk in my office, and I want to pull up a screen that shows me what's going on at the power plant or the water plant or the sewage plant or whatever plant, whatever control facility we've got. I want to be able to see that. So to do that, the technology folks said, we can make it happen. We can do it. The security folks said, it's probably not a good idea. We shouldn't do this. And they connected a cable, and from the operational technology to the information technology world, data began flowing. So now the CEO of the water treatment plant could sit at his desk and he could say, Oh yeah, we're doing this many gallons every day. And so the operational people said, well, we can use this. We don't have to go to the water treatment plant to do it. We can do it from the comfort of the office, or we can do it from the comfort of our home, or now because of the pandemic, we have to do it from home. So now through the internet protocol of a regular network, you can push that button and it'll flow across the link over to the operational technology, and it'll turn the SCADA device on and it'll open and close that motor. It's all good if nobody wanted to attack us, but if people want to attack us, now they can get to that valve. They can get to the motor that opens and closes that valve. They couldn't in the past because it was an isolated network. They would have had to break into the isolated network and do it from inside that facility. That's no longer the case, and that happens on a number of different devices and different platforms. Distribution systems of all kinds, gas, fuel like gasoline for your car, or gas that heats your house, natural gas. They're all piped everywhere, and it's the SCADA devices open and close things. And if we think about the SCADA devices, even as far as robots that assemble things like refrigerators or cars, they're all controlled through these systems. So this article from SC focuses on the vulnerabilities in some of our critical infrastructure. And they point out things like sewage, water, power are what they talk about. So they say in this article, critical manufacturing and water and wastewater infrastructure sectors were far the most affected during the first half of 2020 based on analysis of 363 ICS vulnerabilities published in the National Vulnerability Database, or the NVD. Y'all guys need to know that. I'm sure you do. And 139 ICS advisories affecting 53 vendors issued by the Industrial Control System Cyber Emergency Response Team, or ICS CERT, compared with the first half of 2019. The vulnerabilities reported by the MVD increased by 10.3% from 331, while the ICS CERT advisories raised by 32.4%, up 105 from 105. More than 75% of the vulnerabilities were assigned a high or critical common vulnerability scoring system, or CVSS score. That's terrible. That is terrible. High or critical is, that's the top of the scale. Obviously, critical is that top of the scale. They talk about it being, it was fully air-gapped, but that's no longer the case. And they go on the article says, Clarity claimed the latest operational technology, or OT, data suggests that fully air-gapped ICS networks that are isolated from cyber threats have become vastly uncommon. That's what we talked about a little earlier ago. Noting remote code execution, or RCE, accounted for 49% of the vulnerabilities. Obviously, we know why they want to do this. They being the bad guy, want to be able to go in and do bad things to the critical infrastructure if they're doing it. And you think, we automatically, and the article points this out too, we automatically think this is a nation state that wants to do this. China or Russia or North Korea wants to shut down our electrical grid, make things go chaos. I can't, in the environment we're in today, I could not imagine if power went out to Chicago or New York City or Wisconsin or any of these places where the civil unrest is going on right now. I can't imagine the power grid going down and power going out. So obviously a nation state would want to exploit that. That's something that would automatically think, yeah, nation state. China, Russia, North Korea. Sure, we can definitely see them. But the other prong we see, the other thing we've seen so much this year, is ransomware. What if a ransomware actor, a bad actor, was able to get remote code execution, or let's call it remote code exploitation, on one of these ICS systems and locked it up, encrypted everything, so maybe the valves are shut open or closed or whatever, and then wanted the money. Now here's a weird thing, if it's a power grid, they're not going to want to tell their customers so much because that erodes the confidence in them. So obviously that's bad. And the thing up there, smart electric grids. And I'm not saying you should or shouldn't have these smart meters. That's going to be up to you. And I know a lot of municipalities give a discount if you put one of these things on your house. But the article says utility smart meters are especially vulnerable to attack, which could erode the trust of its customers. IoT security product manager for KPN Security, Shord Huizinga. Hopefully, I know I messed that one up. He pointed out, it's critical that connected utility devices such as ICS, controllers, smart meters, sensors be hacker-proofed. I love names like that. Through their entire life cycle, starting from the production line, through the supply chain to field operation and remote software upgrades to the end of life. Adding that an insecure meter that's an IoT device potentially could become part of a botnet when hit with dark nexus malware, for example. So yeah, and again, if you're putting a smart meter on your house, there's probably a good reason you're doing it. I'm not saying they're inherently bad or good. It's just they have to be protected like any other node on a network. And if the power grid is sending these out and not maintaining them, that's a terrible thing. And now your home could become part of a botnet, which is bad enough. But what if it's part of this takedown? Like, what's part of a ransomware that the bad guy is shutting down different smart meters, just turning them off? Maybe they can't get in to the main grid. Maybe they can only get to the smart meters for some reason. I don't know. I'm just saying it's a node we need to think about. If you have a smart meter, if you have one on your house, just think about how it's protected. How is that thing protected? I don't know. The article talks about the solar inverter being hacked by this coffee cup, the spoofing mechanism that can be tucked in a disposable coffee cup, could generate 32% change in the output voltage, a 200% increase in the low frequency harmonics, and a 200% boost to real power from a solar inverter, obviously destroying things. Kedingsley said a detailed security standards such as NIST 853, come on RMF guys, you know that's what everything's going to lead back to these days, have a good control set. I mean, a lot of times we use 853. We're used to it. We know it. It's well maintained. It's easily accessible. It's free. There's a bunch of reasons to use 853. NERC and SIP are comprehensive, but require baseline configuration. Yeah, that's it. And I'm sorry about my eye, guys. I got something in it this morning, just right before the show. You got to build the baseline. You got to implement the baseline. You've got to test the baseline. You've got to maintain the baseline over time. According to Tobias Whitney, Vice President of the Energy Security Solutions at Fortress Information Security, which created the A2V, and that's the Asset to Vendor Network Power Utilities. It's an organization to help North American utilities share information on cybersecurity risk among themselves, the vendors that serve them, and third parties whom they work with. It's an organization that is trying to secure this stuff. The organization is focused on securing the entire energy supply chain. It currently consists of 20 utility/critical infrastructure members representing a quarter of the electric grid, including 3 of the top 5 as well as 100 vendors, Whitney said. So the grid. We are dependent on technology. Americans are dependent on technology. That's why if you are a risk, a security professional, I mean, at this point, for the foreseeable future, you're probably going to be, unless something weird's going on, you're probably going to be in demand. As we expand these things, as there is more demand for technology, there is more cause for people to attack them. So there is in the beginning, kind of InfoSec was kind of one group. There were the ComSec people and there was the InfoSec people, and we kind of all did everything. And as things have progressed over the last 30 years, wow, specialties have been kind of eked out. These specialties have been created. The whole risk field. Risk has always been there on the management side. On the business side, they've always had risk. Computer risk is fairly new in business. That's a whole field. Security operations centers. That's, they've been around, but that's a whole skill set you can get into and just stay in that world. In the past 30 years ago, you kind of did all of it. Network security, a whole big field of its own. Now we're seeing whole industries where you can specialize in that industry. You can be a cybersecurity professional in the automotive industry and learn automotive systems like the infotainment systems and the safety and power systems within cars, and just do that your entire career. SCADA, you could be in industrial control systems your entire career and never get out of it. And we see even people that are in sectors that could be easily moved between. You'll see people stay in the finance sector for their entire career, whereas you could easily move from finance to pharmaceutical to government easily. Obviously, we see people stay in government, but now we see these specializations, right? You could specialize in ICS security. And that's all you do, ICS security, or automotive security. That's all you do is automotive security. You work with people building cars to make sure they're secure. If we think about automotive, that is the wave that is going to be so dangerous but so profitable to most folks. Think of the over-the-road truckers. Over-the-road truckers now, there's a lot of restrictions on them. 8-hour shifts, logbooks. There's a lot of things that truckers have to think about. Trucking companies have to think about. Now, if you could put a self-driving truck, a truck that drives itself across country, there's no longer a requirement for 8-hour shifts. That thing could drive nonstop, coast to coast. It's probably going to be a lot more efficient. The logarithms to figure out how fast it should drive. It doesn't have to be essentially speeding, because it can drive 24 hours. It can continually drive. It doesn't need bathroom breaks. Just needs to stop to refuel. I'm sure there's, maybe there's a way you figure that. We put enough fuel on this thing to go coast to coast, and it efficiently maps the right speed to go most efficiently across the country. It's coming, whether you like it or not. It's coming. There's a business case, and when we talked yesterday, business drives the technology. Business drives what is coming next. It's going to be cheaper in the long run for a trucking company to build a network of automated trucks that drive themselves than it is to hire truckers. Now, you're probably going to have truckers that do the last miles, that kind of stuff, delivering stuff to stores and homes and stuff like that. You're always going to have that. I don't think that's going anywhere. But the truck that drives from Baltimore to Los Angeles, that's going to be probably automated, because the money says it has to be that way. The financial part says it has to be that way. And it's not going to be that way. It's not going to be tomorrow you're going to wake up and there's self-driving trucks. That's not going to happen. It's not going to be tomorrow. It's going to be slowly over time. 10 years from now, you're going to be like, how did this all happen? It'll start out easy. It'll start out short runs. It'll start out with a driver and an automated truck where the driver is there to take control should something go bad, until the point that's not justifiable as a business cost anymore. Once that truck driver becomes an expense that doesn't return any money, business will seek to eliminate that. That's not me saying that. That's the world. Paul's already seen them. I already have them. Saw documentary on them as they're going through testing stages. Yeah, things are coming. I mean, it all starts with self-driving cars. It all starts with, can this thing do it? And obviously the same thing for trucks. Yeah, Paul. I'd love to, if you know the name of that thing, I'd love to watch it. I've seen some things. There's a lot of clips out there, but I've never seen a full-on documentary. I'd love to see the full-on documentary, but that's coming. And when that comes, can you imagine the security behind a truck that's driving down the road at however many pounds those things are? I don't know what's the weight of a fully loaded semi truck. A lot, and it's tooling down the road at 75 miles an hour. Talk about a hacker's dream. If you want to do bad things and you can hack one of these trucks, once they're here, I'm not saying they're here tomorrow. I'm with Paul here. Paul's saying they're coming. They're testing them, and when they're testing it, they're years away, but they're coming. And if you can take over that system, bad things can happen. So there's got to be security people that are building that. Security people are involved in that. There's going to be a need for security people that are focused just on self-driving vehicles, and that's just more and more specialization in this field. Good call, Paul. Thank you, sir. So, as we're talking about the electrical grid, Cisco, pretty short one today. We'll talk Cisco real quick. Cisco's releasing 8 high-severity patches and 1 medium. Big thing with these, susceptible to denial of service. So Cisco Systems disclosed 8 high-severity bugs impacting a range of its networking gear, including its switches and fiber storage solutions. Cisco's NX OS was hardest hit, with 6 security alerts tied to its network operating system that underpins the networking giants Nexus series Ethernet switches and MDS series fiber channel storage and network switches. This is big if you're a Cisco shop, and I know everybody used to be a Cisco shop. Cisco was the big thing. Now there's Foundry and Juniper and all kinds of other people that are in the market. My favorite, Unify. I like Unify. I just like Unify, and I don't know that Unify is competing directly with huge enterprise class Cisco stuff, but it certainly could. I have yet to see something I don't like about Unify, other than I had to do some command line stuff the other day on Unify Protect because some permissions got messed up, and I had to. It's got a nice feature for SSH, your secure shell in. You turn it on and off every time you turn it on and off. The password changes. So if you're doing the right thing, you're going in, you're enabling SSH when you need it. Every time you do that, it's going to be a new password. It forces a new password. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool they thought that out. So it's not always the same old password. You'd think it'd be easy enough just to you click the button, it comes on, the old password's there. But now you click the button and you got to the password is new. So Cisco, if you got Cisco in your environment, this is more when you go off take care of your organization. If you've got these big Cisco Nexus series Ethernet switches or MDS series fiber channel storage network switches, make sure that your network guy's got that plan to be fixed. It looks like they're 8 high severity and 1 moderate. The biggest thing looks like denial of service, which, taking care of your organization, you don't want your network system causing your denial of service. Bad things would happen around all that. How nasty the Netwalker behaved in the past few months. Netwalker, man, it's malware. It's just ransomware, I should say. Ransomware. How nasty the Netwalker behaved in the past few months. Netwalker, Mailto ransomware, aka Mailto. Everybody calls it Netwalker, I think. Developed and operated by a cyber crime group known as Circus Spider. Looks like it was been active since about mid-2019. Past few months, the operators have been actively targeting victims, mostly corporate networks, mostly looking at systems that are Windows OS based. The group's activity increased during the coronavirus pandemic, which was directed at the healthcare sector. These guys, they've attacked a bunch of notable victims: Loran Healthcare System, Champaign-Urbana Public Health District, the Center for Fertility and Gynecology, and then they went after some businesses: Canadian Tire, Barbizon, Capital, 4C Power, University of California, all kinds of other stuff. Their modus operandi, MO, is their ransomware as a service. And we see this coming out more and more ransomware as a service model, according to the recent situations. They took advantage of the pandemic. Phishing obviously is one way they get in, but they also use these vulnerabilities. So they're big on CVEs. Two of the most common vulnerabilities exploited by these actors using the Netwalker are the Pulse Secure VPN, and that CVE is 2019 11.510, and Telerik UI CVE 2019 18.935. Obviously, those are old because they're 2019 CVEs. Earlier in May, they were able to observe. They were observed using a reflective dynamic link library, or DLL, injection. Crazy. They're an affiliate-based ransomware group. So at the end of May, the ransomware group was reportedly inviting other criminals to become partners in spreading the ransomware. They were giving preference to those who had crime experience, cybercrime experience, and easy access to corporate networks. So they use the double attack strategy, and this double attack strategy is we're going to steal your files, and then we're going to encrypt your files. If you don't pay us the ransom, maybe you got backups, maybe you got protection. If you got backups, we're going to just release your data. We'll put your data on the internet, and there you go. So there's two ways they want to exploit people. They want to either get you to give them the money to decrypt the files, or they're going to tell you, give me the money or I'll release your data. So security measures, secure email gateways, endpoint protection, and provide training to your end users. If we look back at the attack, patch your systems, especially your remote connections, right? CVEs are from 2019, man. Let's patch them up, and DLL library injection. So we got to use endpoint protection. We got to train our end users not to click on things. We got to patch our systems. That's just the way it is. Last up in the hopper today, not a ton of news. Army Cyber Command. That's Army Cyber Command. Yesterday we talked about U.S. Cyber Command. So U.S. Cyber Command is like the DoD. It's top level. It is in line with the NSA. The director of the NSA is the commander of Cyber Command, U.S. Cyber Command. Well, the Army has a Cyber Command as well, so it falls under that Cyber Command umbrella. It's the Army Cyber Command element. This is their patch. This is what they wear. They just they didn't break ground. They just opened their new state-of-the-art facility in Fort Gordon, Georgia. The general, Ronald Pontus, he's the deputy commanding general to the Army Cyber Command. Said, we've been existing over 10 years in 11 different facilities spread across 3 states. So they're bringing all of their Cyber Command elements at Fort Gordon. They're going to be co-located together so that they can more effectively react to things and support the warfighter. This will enable an unprecedented synergy between operational forces and the institutional army. We're seeing the benefits of this synergy between operators, trainers, and industry. So apparently they've got a lot of tech in this building. They really jazzed it up. I tried to find a picture of the building. There's got like one picture of the entrance and one kind of drawing that they did. It's got a wing that connects it with the Georgia NSA facility. Army General Paul Nakasone, the guy can't say his name from yesterday, U.S. Cyber Command Director and Director of NSA, Commander of U.S. Cyber Command and Director of NSA, praised completion of the $300 million facility and the Army's investment in cyber capabilities. And all the components. We're singling out Army today, Air Force, the Navy, Merchant Marine, Coast Guard. Everybody has a cyber capability, and they're just being consolidated. They're all kind of following, getting them organized, getting them all kind of in line with how U.S. Cyber-Com wants to run. One of the big things these guys want to do, they want to get the network, the Army network, all secure, all tightened up and updated. The latest commercial and threat reporting tells us that organizations are fielding and containing attacks faster, or finding, excuse me. Organizations are finding and containing attacks faster, but it still takes us far too long to detect intrusions and respond appropriately. This has left the Army with systems that are inefficient and exposed to unsustainable risk. Commanders need to be able to see advisories of their own forces in real time in cyberspace with the same level of confidence they have on the land domain. So we're seeing cyberspace as another domain. We said land, sea, air, and cyber now, space as well. Where's the one thing? The Army's going to the zero trust concept. I think a lot of people need to go to zero trust. It goes away from, in the past we thought about, we put this hard perimeter around the outside, firewalls, IDS, IPS, we had VPNs, we had all this stuff around the outside that makes the network hard to get into, but once you're inside, it's ducks in a pond, right? It's a fish in a barrel, as they say. You can move around the network as easily as you want. Once you're in the network, it's terrible. So now zero trust means every node on the network, it only gets the amount of access that's needed to do its function, and nothing is truly trusted. Everything has to prove itself. So the idea behind the article says, the idea behind zero trust security is that an organization should not trust any user or device, and must verify identity before granting access to the network. And once that access is granted, it should be only the bare minimum it needs. And everybody needs to start moving towards this model. I was trying to find the number of nodes. I think the Army has like 75 million nodes on its network. Let's see. $75. No. 300 million facility. 7 million endpoints. Sorry, I was I was off by a huge factor there. Department of Defense network. Now we're part of the Department of Defense network of 7 million endpoints. So it's the DoD has 7 million endpoints without sufficient visibility and sufficient command and control. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being responsible for 7 million endpoints, 7 million computer devices? Imagine the visibility you would have to have into that. And obviously you can't. One person couldn't do that. But man, you have to have control over that patching 7 million endpoints. And I was a soldier in the Army, and I was also a DoD civilian working for the Army. So for a large post in the middle of America. It's just patching, keeping things patched is a nightmare. Full time for some folks. So that's what's going on. They're wrapping things up. They're getting things under control, bringing folks together. The Cyber Command had previously, Army Cyber Command had previously been headquartered throughout the Washington, D.C. region, including Fort Belvoir, Virginia, and Fort Meade, Maryland. There's a group down in Arizona. I don't know if they're bringing them in as well. I would think they would be. That's probably the third place they're not mentioning in the article. It's down in Arizona. But, it's interesting to see these coming together. The Army's getting organized. If you're young and you want to start your cyber career, Army's a great place to start your cyber career. They will put you through the ringer, teach you great stuff. That I know in the MOS, I started out in combat arms, but I ended up in signal. When I retired out of the reserves, started out in active Army, ended up in the reserves, finished my time out. It was a series called 25 Bravo, which is pretty much network geek. But the school for 25 Bravo was led part by Army instructors, part by Cisco and Microsoft and all those folks. Walked away with great experiences. So if you're looking for something to do, you're young, Army Cyber Command. I'm sure they're doing much, much crazier things now than when I was in, but That's why they paid for my clearance back in the day. I'm not that I want to work in a cleared job anymore, just because I like to see windows, but definitely good for the experience. Today, just because day. This is your just because day. Be spontaneous. Do it just because. Put a link to 107.3 KFFM, Yakima's #1 music station. I think that's Yakima, Washington. They've got some stuff. Take a day off and drive out of town. Eat at a new restaurant. Do the stupidest dance you can do. Film that dance and post it to YouTube. That's nothing like just because day that'll last forever. Go ahead, supersize it. Buy a greeting card for everyone. Don't have to be the birthday, just a nice card. List of things you can do on just because day. That's the rundown. You guys gotta finish it off, obviously. Got the Kalispell Brewing shirt on. That means, you know, if Alex is out there, Kalispell Brewing shirt means that we're doing trivia tonight. The Kalispell Brewing mug, too. Getting ready for Red Friday. Leading into it. That's where we're at. So, hope you guys got something out of this morning. Know that there's stuff out there. If you got that Cisco gear, get it patched up, get it cleaned up, get it under control. Think about the power grid. Think about that stuff. Think about where things are going. Netwalker, it's going to be yet another reason you have to have ransomware on your risk profile. But that's it. That wraps us up. Got a little shorter today because we went a little long yesterday. So I guess in the grand scheme of things, we're back on track. Let me see something here. There we go. Good to see you guys out there. The Bravos will say, go get some today. Go get some tonight. Come out trivia night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the YouTube. You'll see the live link you'll see the live link probably about a half hour before. We won't be able to open we won't be able to open the stream until about 15 minutes, about 6:45. We'll open it up. Get your SoccerDiv app if you're using the app, the phone app. You can log in the web page on SoccerDiv. Log in as student. The room name is Cyber-Recon, all one word, no hyphen. That'll allow you to answer the questions and win great prizes. So, go out there and do good things today. Take care of each other. Take care of your friends, your family, your coworkers, your organization. Keep things secure and safe. Take care of the datas you got out there. And we will see you tonight at 7 p.m. East Coast time. Finishing up the day, rounding it out with your Cyber-Recon trivia night, cybersecurity trivia. Figure out who is the top dog in the trivia world. So we'll see you then. Be there, be square, man. Take care.